I'm making the best breakfast casserole, which has brie, sage, sausage, eggs, way too much cheese. I don't like brie or sausage, but it is amazing. So I'm gonna start by browning the meat in the pan. So you take a pound of sausage. I like doing sage sausage because I don't want to buy sage because I'm too lazy to chop it. So I use sage sauce. You don't want any pink left over. So then you put it on a plate with a couple paper towels to let it drain and soak up the extra fat. As you can see, there's still some pink, so you gotta keep letting it go. Keep browning. Good. After you browned your meat, you want to grease an 8 or 9x12 baking pan. Line it with bread, but cut the crust off first. You don't want crusts here. Do you have crusty bangs? Are you a crusty bang? So yeah, line it, put bread, then you have your brie. So I like to take the rind off brie. So to do that, I like to cut in half. It's just easier to work with. And then you just kind of take I use a serrated knife, but I just kind of scrape off the rind. That's kind of what makes the cheese taste so funky usually. So, and I hate brie, but I like it in this. I don't know, it just works with the flavors. So so I didn't have enough bread, so I had to call Instacart to drop some off. I don't know if it's because I'm on skates, if I look slightly nice-ish, you know, not pajamas, and I have a little bit of makeup on, but he got that like dumbfounded look of like when you're really into someone. He was cute too, except for the Crocs. Ugh, what an unfortunate day in the fashion world. Anyways, so see if we can get a close up. See how it's really kind of hard to tell, but like some of it's white, but you can see the yellow. You want more of the yellow, so I like to do that. I only use one kind of brie, which is Muarry's brie from Kroger. I think all other brie is so disgusting, but this one's very palatable. Highly recommend. Now you can still do the same kind of scrape on the sides just to get it off. Then you want to cut it up into like 3/4 of an inch to an inch size chunks, and then set it aside to be layered into the casserole. So, okay, so you're gonna take 5 or 6 eggs that you whisk, blend up. You're going to add, I guess I should get a big bowl for this, a new bowl from the thrift store. Fabulous, from Goodwill. All right, so you're gonna put 5 or 6 eggs whipped together. Delish. And then we have 2 cups of milk, full fat preferably, and then 3 cups of cream. Actually, I only want to add 2 cups of the whipping cream and save 1 cup of whipping cream for later. So this is 2 cups of whipping cream. Then you want your spices. So a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of dried mustard. So let's see, teaspoon of dried mustard, teaspoon, or say a tablespoon of sage. Since I use sage sausage, I'm only going to use 2 teaspoons instead of a tablespoon. Let's get that. Oh my gosh, that looks like pot. Definitely not pot though. Okay, so whisk this up. And I'm gonna check the salt. I feel like that's a lot of salt right here. Let's say half a tablespoon. Tablespoon seems like a lot. Teaspoon of salt. Woo! Glad I realized that. So you're gonna layer each ingredient. Start with sausage. You know, a general smattering. You can do tiny little layers, but realistically, they're all gonna like float. So I just kind of toss it in there. Like that. Amazing. Let's see. Dump that in there. Good. Delicious, delicious Brie. Okay. Spread it around. And break it up if there's any big pieces. You should not see any pink in there. If there's any pink in the meat, you will lose weight from the parasites it will give you. Okay, done. Then you take your, I added some Havarti because, what can I say? You can never go wrong with too much cheese. But you want to make sure you cut up your Brie in little bite sizes, so like this size. I'm gonna cut it up to about that, spread it out. Make sure it's kind of even. And supplements with cream cheese or Swiss cheese or any kind of cheese your heart desires. Working on my night cheese. All right. I did not pick this music, but I can. The woman inside me. Yeah. So many things I could say about that. It's been a while, maybe. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's good. Yeah, forgot to mention, in everything you were layering, and then the eggs and the milk and the cream and the spices, you also want to include your Parmesan cheese in this before pouring it over everything. Just FYI. So you have your mixture of eggs, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, teaspoon of dried mustard, a teaspoon of salt, and I put 2 teaspoons of sage, but you want like a tablespoon. Anyways, after that's all whipped up, you're going to pour over. If the bread that you have originally is like a little dried out and crusty, that's like the best because it soaks up all this goodness. I use keto bread since, you know, this house doesn't have carbs in it, which is awful. Actually, that's not true. It shouldn't have carbs in it, but it does, and I eat them all. Okay. Delish. Okay, so this is day 2. You let everything chill for 8 hours. Then you take, remember I said it was 3 cups of heavy whipping cream, divided though. And you put 2 in the first part, and you let it chill. You use your last cup. This, after your mixture is chilled, you take a cup, and you take 2 eggs, or 3 if you're kind of making a bigger recipe like I am, and dump them in. I'm just going to, it says whisk it, but I'm just going to fork it. Let's say, preheat your oven to 350. You can kind of see the egg on the bottom, probably not because I have a lot of lights on. Okay. So everything's mixed up. Take your chilled, which means your preheating is done. God, it preheats so quickly. Sure, it's terrible for the environment, but I don't have any kids, so I'm okay with it. If the world dies after I die, I'm not gonna be around. Terrible, I know. Pour it over your recipe. Try to get it even-ish. I use a 10 by 14 instead of a 9 by 13, which is why mine's a little bit bigger. I used all of the eggs, so I have no more eggs. I even put 3 eggs in that for me, but the recipe calls for 2. So after this, you want to let it cook, I believe 45 minutes, but realistically, or maybe an hour. Just just watch it. It'll still be a little bit jiggly when you take it out. You'll think it's underdone, but it sets and it cooks even when it's taken out. So make sure it's not like super hard or super firm, because it'll be overcooked and it'll taste like sulfur. Put that in for 1 hour or until set. Just kind of check it at the 50-minute mark. Make sure it's not overcooked, undercooked, but it's 350 for about an hour. So we'll come back and it'll be one of the most delicious things you've ever eaten. Forget what I said about a whole hour. I believe I put mine in for 40 minutes and I could smell it. And I figured, it's probably time to take it out. So it came out beautifully. Little brown, but still delicious. And I'll show you what I mean by, see, it's like still a little jiggly, you know? You can see some of the fat from the cheese still on top. I think I may have put so much cheese that it's a little gooey. Yeah, because that's firmed up. So if you put a lot of cheese, it still might look a little undercooked, but I assure you it is. If it's starting to get too brown, cover it while you cook it. It should cook the inside and get that more firm without making this more brown. But there you have it. Let's cut into it. Let's do this. You can see how much cheese is going on. Oof. Delicious. Ridiculously hot, but so good. My stepmom will make this for Christmas morning. It's our Christmas breakfast. Legit. So I'm gonna go give this to William because I don't want to eat it. Because when I spend so long cooking it, I'm kind of tired of it, of looking at it. Yeah, but I'll probably eat this tomorrow. Once it cools, refrigerate it. Keeps for a while. You can freeze it. Heats up pretty well. If you still think that it's like too liquidy because of the cheese, pop it back in, especially if you want to, like, if you're reheating it. If I know I'm going to reheat this for like the week, I'll kind of undercook it a little bit. The edges will be done, but the inside's still a little runny. So when I go to cook it and put it in the microwave or reheat it in the toaster oven, it'll like firm up and it's not like too overcooked. So highly recommend. I hope you enjoy it. And I can't use good eats because, you know, copyright, but fucking delicious.